Today's game space is going to be set up an email system. This is one of my favorite game spaces to work with. I absolutely love email. For any of you who know me well, know how excited I am about email. And what we're going to talk about today is how to set up your email system so that it doesn't overwhelm you, because we want it to support you instead of cause you problems. So the first step in organizing your email is to know what folders or labels you need in your system and how you should use them. I have helped a ton of people with their emails, and we've got those who have a ton of folders along the side, and then those who have less. There are those who like to have a super clean inbox that has, inbox zero, subscribing to that, and those who like to keep everything in their inbox. These two emails are my test account. This particular one that we're showing here is the Gmail one. And this one here is the Outlook one. I'm demonstrating the online versions because the Outlook that you would get in your taskbar on either the PC or the Mac, that larger program is a lot more detailed, and we're going to try to, keep this adventure a bit simplified. So first off, when we're talking about your system, is the first thing you want to do is test, how is your system actually working now? What is going wrong? What is going right? And what can we do to make it better? So the first thing we're going to think about is the folders that you have and the email that comes in. If it takes more than 3 seconds for you to determine where an email goes, then maybe you've got too many folders. We want to be able to look at your inbox and immediately know where the emails go. So as we're looking through these emails, we have some that are useful and some that are less useful. But no matter what, we should know what they're for. So here on this first email here in Gmail, I've got here is that invoice. Well, that's obviously something I need to do something about that. I need to pay for that. Another one, could you research this for me? This is something I probably have to do something about. I need to take action on it. Here is an invitation to an event of some sort. And then here we've also got some ads, some information, some newsletters, and so on. We have a variety of different things in the inbox, and we have to manage them in different ways so that we can do the things we need to do. So we're going to take a look at that and how difficult it is to find, to determine where you're going to put something. So keeping in mind, as you're determining where things should go, keep in mind that the only reason to save most emails is just in case you need to refer to it again, not because you will need to refer to it again. This is a really key sticking point. When we go back to the inbox here, where we've got an invoice and we've got researching that thing. This particular researching of the thing, let's just take a look at that. Let's say that these are important bits of information that I'm going to have to refer to often or related to this client. If this is important information, then I need to have a different place to save it. I don't necessarily want to save it in my email system. I might want to have a note on this client in my Google Drive, or if I'm using OneDrive, in the OneDrive. Or I may want to simply take this useful information and save it to their contact notes. But again, this is an email that came in. It's a bit of information that I then take action on and then discard. So I may need to refer to this later, so I don't necessarily want to delete it, but it does not need to remain in my inbox. So we're thinking these types of things through. The next question is, do you have easy access to your important emails? So that email, while I may want to save the useful information in another location, I may also need to refer to it in the event that, okay, what was the thing we talked about? Did I write it down right? Did I get everything? You want to be able to find it. And how you organize your left-hand folders is one way of finding emails, but the search is another. And we're going to go talk about that a little bit more. Having a good, robust system of folders combined with the ability to search can truly make your email system trustworthy. Next is, do you receive too many emails? If you're getting, 20, 30 emails a minute, this is super overwhelming and really untenable. So we want to keep in mind, are we getting the emails that we want? And are we getting emails just to fill up the inbox? There may be stuff that you don't need in that inbox. And so knowing what types of emails those are and whether or not they're actually useful emails is something to consider. So as you're looking and you're receiving too many emails, one, are they subscriptions? Are they spam? Are they junk? Or are you receiving too many emails that you actually have to do something about? Those are two different strategies that you're going to want to look at in determining what to actually do with those emails. So if you receive too many emails that you have to actually take action on and it's overwhelming you, the amount of work you need to do, then that's not so much an email system problem as you might need an assistant or you might need to be cutting back on some of the actual things you're doing. So I'm going to discuss more about your being overwhelmed by email subscription spam and junk. That we can definitely take care of in improving your email system. So here we're in the Outlook system. And as I look through this inbox here, my test inbox, I do see a lot of newsletters and such that we no longer need and are not useful, and I'm probably not reading them. So even if a newsletter you receive is one you really like and one that's got good information, if you're not reading it, then all it's doing is cluttering your system. And we can either set up a system to have that particular email go somewhere else besides your inbox, or we can unsubscribe from it completely. So the next thing is do you can you find what you need in your system? Do you find yourself panicking when you're looking for an email? And does this worry prevent you from moving emails out of your inbox? So if this is the case, you may benefit from understanding search better. So we're going to talk about what to do with these evaluation questions that you've gone through in your inbox. The first one here is to adjust your email folders. Little techie trick here is the symbols that I often recommend to put in front of email folders and file folders. The symbols and the numbers, they just help keep things in the right, in an order that is reasonable. So here, if we're looking at this Gmail email system. I've got an exclamation point to do. I have a star communications. I have one financial, and I have newsletters. Because Gmail, depending on what you name your folders, will put them in order of special character, then number, then alphabetically. And we can use this to our advantage. Same goes for your Outlook. We've got the exclamation point, save for later, to read. These are alphabetical. The Outlook folder also allows you to nest things directly under the inbox and have folders outside of the inbox. Here I'm hiding the inbox with this little right caret. Down here I have more folders. I have a communication folder, financial, business, save for later. So we've got two separate types of hierarchy, and it really is a personal preference of how you want to do it. If you're afraid that you might forget about this little carroty thing, then maybe you don't want to save these here. But if you don't save them up here for Outlook, they're going to come down below all these other things that Outlook thinks is super cool that you may or may not agree with. Whereas in Gmail, your option is along the side here. You can't really nest anything under your inbox. A little bit of difference in the two systems. So talking about email folders directly, there's a couple of types of folders that I recommend. There are the types of folders where this is more action related, meaning this is a to-do thing or it's more generalized specifics. On an extremely thinned down email system, I like to-do and communications and save for later and read, think, and to read or to think on or ideas. These folders here that I have numbered in the middle, this is a more robust system for those of you who just really love folders. You can get away productivity wise with either. The thing that's going to trip you up if you love folders is if you have hundreds of folders down the side here and you're not sure where they are, what they are, and filing something takes too long to get it done because as you're filing something in the Gmail system, I'm going to click this and we're going to pretend like we're going to file something. This list here gets really, really long. And we want to keep it as short as possible so that you can actually file things quickly. Over in Outlook, the same thing. We've got our little check marky. We've got the move to. Outlook will give you only a limited amount of folders to choose from, and it's going to choose your most popular folders. If you want to file something in a different folder, you would need to go and look in this, move to a different folder besides the ones that are listed here. And that will give you more of your folders where this particular list can also get very, very long. So those are the little productivity tips there. So continuing on just talking about the folders themselves, let's talk about how they work in your system. Let's go into Gmail here. So in Gmail, as I'm looking in this system and how these folders work, we're going to say, okay, here I've got this unpaid invoice. I sent myself a bunch of emails so I'd have some examples. I've got a reminder for the unpaid invoice, and um, okay, over here, but here's that invoice. So I've got 3 emails for the same invoice. I don't need all 3. I only need one because it's an action item of needing to pay. I may need to pay the invoice and I may need to save the invoice for my financial records. But in any event, what I need to do is I need to put it somewhere where I know I'm going to actually take action on it. And there are 2 ways that we can do this in the Gmail system. One, if I need to get it out of my space so it doesn't distract me anymore, we can go ahead and check mark this and move it to the to-do file. If I am more the type who wants to keep it front and center so that it is in my face, I can choose label and choose to do. And I'm going to hit apply. And there it will create this label in my right here on top of this email so that when I've unchecked it, it's there and it's labeled. It's also over here in this to do. So here, these are all the things that I have in my to do. These 2 are also in my inbox. These ones are not in my inbox. So if I were to go through my inbox and scroll down, I'll find all of my to-dos. Now they've been a while ago, so I have to go through the historical pages. Let's see, I'm gonna go back to this to-do and see how long ago this was. What is this? March 17th. So I fill this particular inbox up pretty quickly. So if I were to scroll all the way back to where it's, March 17th, quite a ways, those labels would be on there. But I filled it up with other emails, so it's not as easy to find. So it's nice to have this particular to do so that you can go through all these. Clearing up, we're going to go back to the beginning here. I've got that labeled as a to do. Let's say that I do want to read something or to think on it or whatnot. Again, I can just check mark it and either move it to the folder or put a label on it. We got to read. Now, I am more of an inbox zero kind of person, so I generally would be more likely to either drag it to the to read or check marky and move it to the to read. So I'm going through the various emails and deciding what to do with them. Here, because I've got the to do on this particular invoice, I know that I don't need to deal with these at all. So I have a choice between either deleting them or archiving them. If I delete them, they're gone from the system. They go into the delete box, and then I can delete them completely from my system from there. If I archive them, they will remain available to me for searching. Archive only means take out of inbox. And so now it's not in my inbox, it's not in my way, it's not cluttering up my psyche. We're going to go ahead and show you a similar trick over here in Outlook. In Outlook, we have a somewhat similar situation. Here we've got the same invoice situation where it's sent 3 times. We only really need one. So we're going to take this one. And Outlook doesn't have as nice of a labeling system as Gmail does. So I can take this particular email and I can move it to my to-do folder, and it'll take it out of the inbox and put it in that to-do folder to be saved for later. I could also, oops, go back. I could also flag that email, and it will be saved in a flag situation, and it will show up in my inbox here as a flagged email, which is helpful. The other thing that I can do with this particular email is I could categorize it and create a to-do category. This has to be, set up manually in the categorization system under here, manage categories. So we can see these, and in this case here, I can take these two, and the same applies for Outlook as it does for Gmail. I can delete it to make it go away completely, or archive them, which will also allow me to find them later if I need to. So looking further on these particular emails, we're going back to Gmail here and looking at the other folders. I like to have a communications folder, and I like to use this folder for any time I'm actually having a conversation with another human being. So this is not for invitations that I receive. It is not for reminders. It is not for invoices. It is not for newsletters. It is just communication between me and another person. I don't tend to organize my conversations in any other way for a couple of reasons. One, I like to keep my labels clean. I like to have them simplified. I do have some people who like to have folders for specific individuals. I find this to be a little bit difficult to maintain because we do get emails from many, many different people. So what I recommend is as you work with people and as you have the conversations, like this one here, could you research a thing for me? This is a great example of how we would use this process. So here's, could you research this thing for me? First, I know this is an action item I need to do. So let's go ahead and move it over to my to-do folder. So now it's nice and tidy in my to-do folder. And let's say in the day, I've got my action time where I'm going to do all my work. I go into the to-do folder. I get the thing done. Now that I'm done with it, I don't need it in my to-do folder anymore. So I can take that label off and it will automatically archive. And then I'm like, oh crap, where did it go? So I go to my inbox here. I know that this particular email was from Marion, and I can find it by knowing her name. Well, let's say I need to be a little more drilled down than that. I can check mark it and put it in the label communications, and then I will hit apply. So this labels Marion as communications. That's about as much organization as I need because I know that typing in Marion will bring that email back up. But let's say that I forgot what her name was. All I know, okay, it starts with an M, or oh, I saw it last week. There's a variety of other things that we can do with this search. This here, I know it had something to do with, we're going to say the location. So here I type in location, and here it comes up because it has the word location in that email. But let's say that this is way too many emails for us to go and look through to find that one email that I was looking for. We're going to click down here in this search field. And here we have much better options. So here, has the words location. Well, let's say I wanted to drill down and I knew that in the subject it was, could you research that thing for me? So let's go ahead and hit this down. In the subject line, let's find all the emails that have the word research. Here, I don't know who it's from. I don't know who it's to. I don't know anything more than the word research. So now as I search, these are all the emails that I have that have the word research in the subject line. And that's how it shows up here in Google. Looking further in search, in Outlook, you've got the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and type in research, and I'm going to hit enter. And here I have a ton of stuff. Here, that email from Marion does show up, but let's say I want to drill down even deeper. In the search, Outlook put research into keywords. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to actually put it in the subject line and paste. So it will only search for emails that have the word research in the subject line. So we're going to hit search. Now I only have 2 emails to look for. So even though I'm only saving emails in a very general folder, we're going to go ahead and, while we have this, we're going to save it to a different folder called communications. Even though I only have this email in communications, I can still find it. One thing that you do want to be aware of too is where is it looking? So we're going to go back to this search of subject research. I find it, but let's say I didn't. What if I were only looking in my sent items? Looks like I sent it. Items. Let's go ahead and see. Here it says, as we notice up here, it says nothing found in financial. And luckily, Outlook says, hey, these are some other places. But this side business of all folders, junk mail, drafts, these are other ways of drilling down where you're looking for stuff. And Gmail has the same thing as we're going here. Subject include, let's see, we want to, it's a little bit harder to drill down. There we go. Under this search, we've got the all mail. This is where that equivalent is. It's not onto the side, it's down at the bottom. So we've got just the inbox doing a search, or in your spam doing a search. These little drop downs make search super, super useful. I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself when we're in our game space talking about the specifics. But as you work on these things and creating the folders that you need, um, fill in the gaps based on what I've offered you. Under to do, we also have the option of adding subfolders. So let's say we're really good at using this to do folder, but we're looking at here, we've got an invitation. Well, this isn't happening until next week or so. You don't want it front and center in your to do. You might want to create a subfolder under to do and create a new label waiting, and we're going to nest it under to do. So this nesting feature is also very useful in setting up your email system. So here now I have this email in waiting because I may or may not need it. Maybe I'll get that reminder and I'll be able to just click to it and join the meeting. Or if I come to the meeting and I come to the time of the meeting and realize, I don't know when this thing is starting, it's right here in this waiting. And I do go into my waiting folder every so often and clear things that have already passed, either by eliminating that tag from them, or deleting them entirely, really depending upon the email. And then we did the practice search. I kind of got ahead of myself in this game space, but these are the tips that you can use to make your system work the way that you want it to work, and so that your email is just a little bit more efficient for your needs. Thank you all for joining me, and until next time, I will see you all about the internet.